Hi, we're going to start working on some videos, tutorials in this video for chapter 3. So the first one we're going to do is the birth date string application. So this one we're going to create an application that lets the user enter the following information about their birth date: the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, or whatever, the name of the month, January, February, the numeric day of the month, and the year. So if you're looking in your book, tutorial 3, you'll see form or figure 3.9. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with this. So get Microsoft Studio, Visual Studio going, do a new project. Okay, again, need to scroll down and find the one that I'm using here. Which is right there. Name we're going to call this is birth date string. And then go to where I'm going to save this one. I'm going to switch over to chapter 3, create a folder, call it 2025, and then create a folder and call it birth date. Shorten it down a little bit. Okay, that's what I'm going to use there, so select that one, and then we're set. So we'll do a create. And on this one, I'm going to kind of set it up, and then I'll reformat it to fit better on here. But we're going to have 4 labels for text boxes. We haven't used a text box before, so this will be the first time for doing that. So I'm going to put the 4 labels on here first. Toolbox. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to kind of lay these all out here. Okay. Then I'm going to select all of them. So I got the first one selected. I'm going to hold down my control key and do the other ones. This way, the properties that fit all of them at the same time, we can change, that go for all of them, we can change them all on here. So the book doesn't have show any properties on all these, but except for the name of them. Now, one of the things that I don't like about the way that this book does this is that it names all of their controls. I don't see any reason to name something that's not going to be used in the code. So we're not going to put the names on these controls because they're not going to be used in the code. They're just used to give you, the user, an idea of what goes into what text box. But I do want to change on here the auto size to false. Okay, and then I'm going to drag all of these out to the same length. And then if I have to adjust them afterwards, I will. But I'm going to drag them out here like this. Click off, and then click on the first one. First one, we're going to change the text in here, and the text is going to be enter the day of the week. And oh, that was the other thing I want to do. We'll do that after I get all these labels in here. The second one is going to be enter the name of the month. Third one is going to be enter the numeric day of the month. And then the last one, you see how that one's not long enough there, so we'll fix that with all these. We'll get this because I want to do another change to it anyway. The fourth one is going to be enter the year. Okay, so we got all those in there. Now let's go ahead and select them all. I'm going to select the top one and hold down the control key and get the other ones. You need to make sure that you click them correctly, because if you miss and you hit the form, and you don't notice that, it's going to mess things up on the form also. So make sure you do that. I'm going to do a text align. I'm going to do these to middle right. And then I'm going to drag these out because if you notice the one under the numeric day of the month is not showing up on there. So I need to drag these out a little bit so that gets all, so it has everything in there like that on there. So, okay. So that gets our 4 labels on there. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to need 4 text boxes. So go down here, text box. Get all those. And then I'm going to line these up with these. You notice the horizontal line that shows up. I'm going to use the blue line. I'll line these up. Blue line is for the box itself, and the kind of purplish pink line, whatever you want to call that color, is for, there we go, there. It's hard to do with a, and that's not what I wanted to do. That's going to mess that up. I'll show you what on that, what happens when you do that by accident there. Okay. There. And then, oops, the last one here. There. Okay. So all those lined up. So what happened in there on the code, I double clicked on a text box by mistake, and it went ahead and created this down in here. Problem is, if I delete that, it's going to cause errors because there's things in the code that it won't delete when I delete that out of there. So you can just go ahead and leave it in there so we don't have to mess with having to look through the code to find out where the errors are to fix those. Okay. Later on, if we have time in another class, I can show you how to do that. For right now, just leave it in there. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so let's go back in. We need to finish this up now. We're going to need, okay, yeah, we've got all that in there. So now we're going to need a date output label. So I'm going to go ahead and get another label here. And I'm going to bring that down here and kind of line it up with, if I can get this lined up here. Line it up over there, which is where I wanted it, but we'll move it around. Okay, so I'm going to redo the size on this, the auto size to false. I'm going to realign this, back over this way. Actually, I want this more across the whole thing. So I'm going to bring it over about here, and then bring it over about here, something like that, okay? I want to change the border style. Like I said, I like the fixed 3D, so that's what I'm going to use. The book wants the fixed single. And I want to do a text align middle, which we can go ahead and set that up now. Middle center. Yeah. And then we're not going to have the text in there, so I'm going to delete that off of here. And then on this one, we do need the name because we're going to be using this in the code, and we need the name for the text boxes, so we'll go back and do that. It's going to be date output label. Let's go back and do the text boxes so we don't forget to do that before we get started on the code. Top one. Is going to be day of week prompt label. And since we don't actually have to type the name completely in when we're doing the code because of the IntelliSense, we can have long names for these. Okay, button 2, or not button, text box 2 is month prompt label. Text box 3 is day of month prompt label. Oh, wait, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go change all these. These should be text boxes and not labels. I was looking at the wrong line. Text box. There we go. Doesn't make any difference. We haven't done any code on these yet, so we can change these without any problem. Okay, there, and then this one, change it to from label to text box. And then enter the year one text box from that one is going to be year text box. Okay, we already got the name on here for us on that one. So we're going to have 3 buttons on this one. So I can click off. So I just have the form selected there. Go to my toolbox. And the 3 buttons will go down below here. Get those lined up. So 2 of these buttons are going to be the first time you haven't done these before. So on here, the first button is going to be our show date button. So you click on it. We're already up here for names, so I'm going to do that first. So show date button. Scroll down here. The text for this is going to be show date. Okay. Next button, button 2. That's going to be our clear button. So the text on it is going to be clear. And the name is going to be clear button. And so what the clear button is going to do is it's going to remove all the information out of the text boxes. So if they want to do another one, they can clear it and then put new data in there. And then the third one is going to be our exit button. So it's going to be our exit button. Oops. And then the text for this will be exit. Okay. Now I'm going to go over here to the clear because I want to make sure I didn't mess that up on my name. Nope, got that right. Okay, so everything's fine on there. So I got everything on here. So now what we're going to do is start putting in the code for this. So I'll get down to that here in a second. So we're going to start with the show date button. I'm going to double click on it, get into the code there. Remember, that's not, we're just going to leave that alone, not worry about that at all. So on this, what we want to do is we need a string to build what's going to go in there. So it's going to be our output. So I'm going to do string output semicolon. And then we need to build our output. Our output's going to be equal to day of week text box dot text plus quote comma space plus, and then we can go down to the next line, month okay, I should have had a month text box, so that's not coming up. So I'm going to go back over to my form and see what I typed in wrong on that. This one here. They messed up on here. They put all this stuff in here about the month prompt and stuff. So I'm going to take that out of there. It's one of the things that you have to watch when you're working out of a book is sometimes they don't pay attention to what they're doing. They did that. This one here they have labeled as day of month text box. One place they put prompt on there and one place they don't, and this will shorten down the name some, so I'm going to go in here and change all these. Okay, so that is month text box there. This one is day of week, and we'll fix that over on the other side in the code when we get back over there. There we go. And then enter the year will be year text box. Okay, so they kind of messed that up a little bit on there. So we'll go back over to our code. And on this one down here, notice that it's already changed it to day of week text box for us. Okay. Okay, so now we can continue on with this. So now the next one is our month text box dot text is plus quote space quote plus, go down to the next line again, separate these out a little bit. Day of month text box dot text plus quote comma space end quote plus, then the last one is year text box dot text semicolon. Okay, so now we got that built, then we need to output it. So our date output label dot text is going to be equal to output, and that's the whole thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test this now, and then we can put in the other two buttons. So I'm going to click on my start. And if you look in the book, it gives you an example. So I'm going to do the example that they give us. Okay, I got to go find it again because I jumped around a little bit. There we go. We're going to do Friday as the day of the week, June 1st. They do 1990. Okay, click on show date, and there's Friday, June 1st, 1990. Okay, everything looks really good. Clear and exit don't work. I have to click on my X up here to get out of this, and then we'll do the other buttons. So I'm going to switch over to my design, double click on the clear. Okay, and then on the clear, what we're going to do is we're just going to set all those to quote quote. That's the way that we normally do it on here. There's other ways of doing it, but that's the way we're going to do it on this one. So day of week text box dot text equals quote quote semicolon. Month text box dot, and I'm going to type this in so you can see it. There's a clear. There is a clear on here that we could do, but we're just going to do it this way. Dot text equals quote quote day of month dot text box equals quote quote and year text box dot text equals quote quote. Okay. And then we need to do our last one, which is going to be our date output label dot text equals quote quote. Okay, because if you clear out all the other stuff and you leave that in there, it's going to look funny when they type in the data in there and it doesn't match up. Okay, so you want to make sure you clear all that out of there. And so we might as well go ahead and do the exit button. So we'll switch back over, double click on the exit button. Okay, and what you type in for this is this, which refers to the form that's in this project, dot close parentheses and parentheses, because close is a method. Okay, so let's test all this stuff out now. So I'm going to do today, I'm doing this quite a bit ahead of time. So the day of the week is going to be Tuesday. Get this started here. The name of the month is going to be July. The numeric day of the month is going to be the 29th. And the year is going to be 2025. Okay? So I can do a show date. Shows it in there. I can click on the clear button and everything's wiped out. And I can click on the exit button and it exits out of the program. Okay? So hopefully you were able to follow along with that. And the next video then we'll go with the next tutorial on here. So hope you watch the next videos that come up on this. Bye.